All right, this is what the inside of a website or phone application looks like for me. This is my go-to file structure. This is my go-to file structure, and I'm gonna deep dive into which file and folder does what. So I'm gonna start from up at the top. The client here, that is the front end. That is what you see on your computer and phone. And then everything else here, all these folders and files, JSON, middleware, models, routes, utils, package, seeder, server, it's all the backend. Handles all the data that you don't see on your interface. Client folder is actually generated by Create React App. Open it. It's actually the most confusing folder probably to start with in the entire file structure here. But so this is the package JSON for the front end. These are the packages I'm using. So Node Sass, that's a front end framework for CSS. React, everything React is on the front end. So I'm using all the React packages. And then this is like the saved JSON version. And source is where all the React goes. And I have React Redux in here, actions, reducers. That is for React Redux file structure. And I have SCSS for Sass. That is where all the styles go. Abstracts. It's just kind of an optional way to do CSS, but it's nice and sorted. I don't even really use half of these Sass folders really anyway. You can really sort it however you like, but all the styling goes in there. I have a copied folder of it. I'm not sure why. So you can just ignore that. These are where all my images go. And then containers are pages and components are components inside the pages. So basically components go inside containers, even though it doesn't really represent it like that in the file structure. And then app.css, it's just some more styling, some optional styling, more like generic cust. I don't really use this file. I don't really use this index CSS file either. It's just built-in code that's there for with the React, with the Create React app downloading. Store, this is what connects my React Redux. It's like the root connector, like index for React Redux. And it brings in all of the reducers from there, which come from the actions. And then it's brought into the main app.js. So if you're familiar with React, you'll be kind of somewhat familiar with this file structure here. Look is like the entry point for React. This is where like the actual HTML file gets connected to React. It's just like a layer of files basically. So this index gets sent to this index.js, which then goes to app.js. It's really confusing actually, but all these files are really just interconnected with each other. And there's really no indication of how or you just have to know in the file structure. This README, this is from React. So I didn't write any of this right here. It's just tells you how Create React app works. All the documentation is, it leaves you there. So done with client, the most confusing folder in the whole project. So config here. These are where secret keys are held for backend authentication. This is where my database gets connected to Mongo. So I create a function here, and then that's exported out to my server.js file, which is the main root file, which is the file that the server catches in order to run the whole website when it's run from the terminal. So in the terminal here, if I run npm run dev, which is the command, get an error. And then config, these are like my secret keys. So this it doesn't get sent to GitHub because I have what's called the git ignore. They're being published in this git ignore file. So all these don't get sent to GitHub, and it saves a lot of time and scalability. So it takes a lot faster to push your code. JSON, this is just for any optional JSON objects that you want. So they all come in objects, but it's a blank file, obviously. Middleware code to like for error handling. You see this this function is called error handle. And if any of these like error codes 1100s pop up or a validation error or server error pops up in the terminal, it'll catch this and it's asking if that error is that certain kind of error, and then it'll give you a deeper look inside what kind of error you're getting to help you debug easier. And then models are the database objects. So like if you're creating a person with attributes like the person, where do they live, what is their job, what is their just information about something, you create a model for that and it goes inside there. And then routes, these are where all, like you have a home page obviously in a website, and then you have like a login page, and then you have like a dashboard page, then a layout page, whatever. These are where all your different pages go, and they all use the CRUD functionality using express.js on the back end, which is a framework. Requiring express at the top here, using the get function to get the home page so it displays to the screen. The front end connects to the back end, and then React on the front end using Axios catches this get function call. So the back end is able to communicate with the front end. Utilities, these are just for more, this is another error code handling file. Git ignore went over that. So package.json, these are the backend packages that handle the data. So Mongoose, I need Mongoose for the database. Morgan helps you with terminal readings. Express allows you to use backend in the whole first place. .env is for security and authentication. Just everything has its own purpose here. These are dev dependencies, so they're just more dependencies put into a different category. And this is how the using npm run dev right here, it runs concurrently, npm run server and client all in one command. So let's see where I'm at here. So the reason why this program isn't running right now is because I don't have the node modules, so I need to run a npm install and download all the package.json files, which will take a while, so I'm not going to demonstrate that right now. Cedar, this is just for putting data into your database or removing it from your database real quick, just for testing purposes, really. It's a lot of code here, but all these files right here, all these JSON files get just pushed into your database. You can import with this function, or you can delete the data with this function using these commands right here. If you know code, you know exactly what's going on here, but just bear with me if not. And then server, this is the main file for the whole program. This is where everything is stored basically. It's importing all the packages. It's connecting with the database. That's this connectdb function is from this config file. It's using Morgan. It's using the express.json. It's so this is the file that gets caught when the program is run from the server. Thank you so much for watching.